Good luck.
Merhaba arkadaşlar, hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün dünyanın en refah ülkelerinden Danimarka'da Aarhus University'de STEM programlarını Catherine ve Didem Hanım'dan dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı questions kısmından sormayı unutmayın. Yes, Catherine, the stage is yours now.
All right, thank you so much, Zainab. Thanks for having me and welcome to all of you. It's wonderful to see so many of you guys here. I will start my presentation now, and then I will quickly introduce myself, and Didem from ISIS will also introduce herself. So let me just find the right thing to share. All right, so hopefully you can all see my screen now. So what I'll be presenting about today is STEM opportunities, study opportunities at Aarhus University. My name is Katrina Rosenbeck. I am from the International Center at Aarhus University. And Didem, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes.
Feel free to do it in Turkish.
Yes, that would be amazing. Thank you very much. Arkadaşlar merhaba, katılımınız için teşekkür ederiz. Ben ICES Türkiye Yurtdışı Eğitim'den Didem. Bugün Catherine'le beraber Aarhus Üniversitesi hakkında konuşacağız. Catherine birçok detaylı bilgi verecek zaten. Biz de Aarhus Üniversitesi ile alakalı herhangi bir sorunuz olduğu zaman ya da farklı ülkelerde, farklı üniversitelerle alakalı yurtdışı lisans ve yüksek lisans eğitimiyle alakalı bilgi almak istediğinizde danışabileceğiniz yerlerden bir tanesiyiz. İletişim bilgilerimi zaten veriyor olacağım chat tarafından. Sorularınız da olursa lütfen questions tarafında ben bakıyor olacağım. Hem ben gerektiği yerde de Catherine zaten cevaplıyor olacağız. Hepinize şimdiden teşekkürler. İyi webinarlar diliyorum. Thank you, Catherine. I'm done.
Thank you. As I'm sure Didem mentioned, she will be answering questions throughout. But if you have any questions, feel free to write them, and I can also do my best to answer them at the end of the presentation. So we have about a total of 45 minutes now, and I'll give you a general introduction to the university, to Denmark, and then to the degree programs. And as mentioned, we're focusing on STEM degree programs, especially computer science and our engineering programs. If you have questions about other study programs or you're interested in other study programs, feel free to hang around. There might still be some interesting stuff for you. If you have questions, again, I'll do my best to answer, but I know more about our science and technology programs than I do about our arts and business programs. Don't worry about taking too many notes. I will send you a link to this presentation. And one more final thing, in the email that I send you afterwards, I will also include a link to our newsletter. I really recommend that you sign up. We will send you just helpful information about how to apply, when the deadlines are, and so on and so on. And you can always unsubscribe. So some of you may already have been to Denmark several times. Some of you might not even really know where Denmark is. We are a tiny country located in the Nordic countries, just north of Germany, south of Norway. And I guess flight time from Istanbul, from Turkey, would be about 3.5, 4 hours. On the left-hand side, you see a map of Denmark. So Aarhus is on the main peninsula, right on the water, so beautiful location. And it's about 3 hours by train or by car from the capital, Copenhagen. So this is a picture from the lake area, as we call it, just about half an hour away from the university. It's a beautiful area where people can go canoeing and stuff during the summer. 5.8 million people live in the country. So as mentioned, very small country. The cool thing is, as an international student, if you decide to visit us or come to study here, that pretty much everybody speaks English. I've written 90%. That's just my best guesstimate. But anyone you'll meet, definitely around campus, but also in the supermarket or on the bus, will speak English. So it's really easy to get around. And yeah, so that just makes a difference. When you come here, you don't need to learn Danish. But obviously, we recommend that you try, especially if you're here studying for 2 years and might even be interested in working here afterwards. Knowing Danish is a really good idea. The Danish society is very safe, secure, and equal. I think that's the most important thing that I can actually say about Denmark. According to the World Population Review, we're one of the 5 safest countries in the world. This year, we were among the 2 happiest countries in the world. I think Finland beat us this time around. And then we consistently have the world's lowest level of corruption. That also says something about the society that you will be living in. I can also tell you just briefly that we have, come through the corona situation, the COVID pandemic, fairly well here in Denmark. So if you walk around the city of Aarhus now, things will just seem completely normal. I think about 80% of everyone in Denmark has been vaccinated. So that's really nice. We're all back at work. There are no restrictions on how many people you can meet, or you don't have to wear a mask or anything. So it's really as if it was the year 2019 here in Denmark now. The city of Aarhus, it's the second biggest city in Denmark, so just behind Copenhagen. It's the youngest city in Denmark measured by age. So we have a lot of students here. We call Aarhus Denmark's #1 student city. 52,000 students live here in total. Also, Aarhus is one of the oldest cities in Denmark. We were founded by the Vikings back in the year 948. So quite a long time ago. Also, what you may not know is that we actually have a quite large Turkish community in Denmark. Some of you might have family here. About 70,000 people of Turkish descent or Turkish people live here now. And then what's also quite interesting for you to know, perhaps, is that we have 40 Turkish mosques here in Denmark and a big one here in Aarhus. So that also says something about an active and vibrant Turkish community in Denmark. So the University of Aarhus. This is from just up the street from where I'm sitting right now. It's a picture from the University Park. One of my favorite places in Denmark, and definitely one of my favorite places in Aarhus. We have a green, beautiful park that kind of makes up the heart of the university. We are a public research university founded almost 100 years ago. And we have just shy of 40,000 students at the university now. And 12% of these are international. So that generally means that in all the study programs that I'll be talking about today, more than 1 in 10 students in your class will be an international student. And there's a really great community of international students that I know meet, for instance, every Tuesday night at the International Student House and do all sorts of activities together. Just briefly about our rankings. On the Shanghai ranking, we are currently at number 71 in the world, and then going all the way to currently 155 on the QS ranking. So just skipping ahead briefly to kind of like the learning culture or what it's like to study here at AU, I think what makes us stand out. And I think for you, it's important to know that all the teaching that we do here at the university is research-based. That means that every class you'll have, the person teaching you is going to be an active researcher, someone who has a PhD or even higher than that, and someone who's doing research on the side. So typically a professor might teach 1, perhaps 2 classes per semester, and then do research at the rest of the time. And that's a requirement in order to be able to teach at the university. Also, I can say we have what we call a Scandinavian teaching style. And of course, we focus a lot on in-depth analysis and about developing your critical thinking. But what it also means to you is that we have a very informal learning style. So for instance, students here call their professors or teachers by their first name. So you will say, excuse me, John, can I ask you a question? You wouldn't say, hey, Mr. Johnson or Professor Johnson. You would just address them by their first name. That really creates a different kind of atmosphere, and it opens up for a lot of interaction between staff and students at the university. The format of teaching here is probably similar to what you're used to, or what a lot of you might be used to. It's a mixture of everything, so from big lectures to small seminars to lab work. What you might not be used to is that we do a lot of project work and a lot of group work. So what's really important for you here at the university is that already during the first semester, you'll be assigned to a study group of perhaps 3, 4, 5 students, and you'll do projects together. And that really reflects quite well how you'll be learning in the real world, where you will naturally be working together with other people. This slide is just to show you that we work together with a lot of universities all across the world, also obviously universities in Turkey. During all of our degree programs, you have the opportunity to study abroad, and these are just some of our partnerships that we like to highlight. But we have about, for the STEM programs, we have about 100 exchange partnerships worldwide. Also for you as an international student coming to the university from far away, it's nice to know that we actually do have a lot of services. We make sure that we take really good care of all of our international students from before they even arrive. So at the International Center and in collaboration with our admissions office, we make sure that you have all the right paperwork in order, like visa, residence permits. We make sure that you're up to date on practical information. And also we make sure that you're off to a good start in terms of making friends and creating a network for yourself here in Denmark. So in this picture here, you can see, I think this picture was actually taken 2 years ago, around during the intro week. So you can see all of these are international students hanging out and sharing a lunch during the intro week. Also, we have actually a housing guarantee for students from outside the EU, so that would include you guys. So we'll make sure that you have affordable student housing in Aarhus that's guaranteed. And then we have really great career services for international students specifically, and we're really putting a lot of effort into having great services for our STEM students especially. So throughout, I think, each semester we will have maybe between 10 and 20 different events. So that would be networking, or it would be various job finding skills, creating a resume, and it could be speed dating with businesses and so on and so on. So lots of great opportunities that will prepare you for a career in Denmark, but it will also help you find a relevant part-time jobs if you're interested in working during your studies. And you can actually work for 20 hours per week during your degree. And in the summer, students are allowed to work full-time, so that would be 37 hours in Denmark. So if you're interested in staying and working in Denmark after graduation, there are also really great opportunities. You can stay for 6 months. And I've also indicated that you can actually stay for longer to find work. You just need to submit a special application, and then you can stay for up to 2 years. The unemployment here is generally quite low. It has been low also throughout Corona. So we've, as I mentioned, we came through that crisis fairly well. Also worth mentioning is that we have really high starting salaries, especially for engineering and computer science students, obviously. And what's great about working and living in Denmark is also that you have a great work-life balance. So you typically work the full-time is 37 hours a week. And then by law, all people working in Denmark are guaranteed 5 weeks of paid leave. So that's vacation time where you are still getting paid. All right, so that was a bit about Denmark, what it's like to live and study at the university. And I'm just skipping ahead to admission. The next application deadline is the 15th of January. So our application portal, which is online, will open on the 1st of November. So in about 2 weeks from now. And then you have to submit your application by the 15th of January if you want to start in August. The annual tuition fee for these programs is 14,800. For other programs, non-STEM programs, the prices are different, just to mention that. We do have quite a few tuition fee waivers available for select top students. And the way it works is actually very simple. Once you apply for admission, you automatically apply for a tuition fee waiver. You don't need to submit any extra application or any extra documents. You will just apply for it automatically along with your application. And then the way it works is that academic staff members at the department that you apply to or the program you apply to will look at your transcript and assess whether you're in the top of the applicants, if you have the highest GPA among the applicants, and then they'll nominate you for a scholarship. So there's really not much you can do at this point. Focus on getting the best possible grades, and that's all you can do. The application fee is 100 euros, but that covers actually 3 applications. So if you're interested in more than one study program at the university, you can apply for 3 different programs for the 100 euros. And once you pay your tuition, you will be refunded that 100 euros. So it's a temporary application fee. Okay, so just a bit more now about computer science. So all of our programs are structured in a very similar way, where you have 2 years of study full-time, daytime studies, all programs. And then the 2 years are divided into 4 semesters, where typically you'll have a mix of mandatory and elective courses during the first 3 semesters, and then you have your thesis by the end. And your thesis is an individual research project that you develop in collaboration with a research group, and typically also you can do it with an industry partner as well. At computer science, you will pick up to 3 different specializations during your program. And I've just listed the different specializations that you can study at computer science here. And a few extra selling points about this particular program. It's actually the best computer science program in Denmark and the 3rd best computer science program in Scandinavia. The degree program is located in what we call the IT city, which is just on the north kind of end of campus. And this is also where all the large IT companies are located. So the program has really close cooperation with large IT companies. So that includes Google and other such companies. Excellent career opportunities, and that goes both for students and for graduates as well. And what's special about being an international student at computer science is that you actually get your own office space at the department. So admission requirements, because this is such a, I want to say specific program and also a very advanced program, we have very strict admission requirements. So obviously you would need a bachelor's degree in computer science, but specifically you need to live up to these requirements where you can document that you have 20 ECTS in programming, 20 ECTS in computer science, computer systems, and so on and so on. And just to mention quickly, I'm not sure how familiar you are with ECTS, but if you imagine how many credits you will take in 1 year at your home university right now, that is the equivalent of 60 ECTS. So 20 ECTS would be 1/3 of an academic year. Also, to gain admission to the program, you would need to document English skills, and most students choose to submit a TOEFL test, and you need to have a score of 83. And this applies to all of our programs. So it's really, again, so in a way, the admission requirements are fairly simple in the sense that you don't need to upload any recommendations. You don't need to document that you have any work experience. And actually, we prefer that you do not submit any additional documentation. All we need is your transcript or your diploma from your bachelor's degree, course description, so we can see that you've actually covered the courses that we require, and then your English language test. So, our engineering programs. We have a total of 5 engineering programs here in Aarhus, and these are biotechnology and chemical engineering, civil and architectural engineering, computer engineering, electrical engineering, and finally mechanical engineering. And the same way as computer science, it's 4 semesters finishing off with a thesis, and then during the first 3 semesters you have a mix of compulsory courses and specialized courses, where you can say specialized courses are elective courses. So these are just a few examples of what specialized courses could look like. And we have a full overview on our website of these specializations. But you can just see a few examples here of what these specialized courses could be. Admission requirements. So for, again, very similar to computer science, you need a relevant bachelor's degree, and that would be a bachelor's degree in engineering. And then you need to have 60 ECTS within that specific field of engineering that you're applying to. So say, for instance, that you're applying to mechanical engineering, you would need to document that you have passed 60 ECTS, one full-time year of studies within mechanical engineering. And then in addition, all of our programs require you to document that you have passed 20 ECTS in math. And some of these requirements are even more specific. And you can see these requirements on our website. But some programs need you to document that you've passed, that you know specific statistics or calculus or algebra. And again, like computer science, you need an English language test. All right, that was actually my presentation of our programs. I've inserted a link here at the end about with detailed description, so you can see all of these requirements. I will see if I can just open this one slide just to show you an example of what all these pages look like, because they're all structured in the same way, where you can read a description of the program. You can most often meet the students, and you can find the specific admission requirements that I mentioned, and find the program structure as well. So here you can see all the different specializations. What's also helpful for you to notice is that there's always a link to a student that you can talk to. So I definitely recommend, if you have any specific questions about a program, reach out to a student and chat with them directly. On these pages, you can also find some of our other webinars where you can meet some of the students as well. And you can find links to our application instructions and so on and so on, and links to other events. So a lot of great info if you just click on those links. I think I will return to you now, Didem, and perhaps you have picked up on a few more questions.
Yes, I tried to answer a couple of questions as much as I can, but we have some questions. Some of them are very general questions about Aarhus University in Denmark. I would like to ask them to you because I believe you could provide us more detailed information. So let's start with Göktuğ Çağla's questions. He has a couple of questions regarding Aarhus and Denmark. For example, one of his questions is the difference of Aarhus University and the other universities. What differs Aarhus University from other universities in terms of education or educational opportunities to the students, to international students, after graduation opportunities, and so what can you tell us about that?
That's a really, really good question. And also, I think it can also be quite difficult to answer. I think one difference is obviously location. There are larger universities in all the big cities in Denmark. So that would be Copenhagen, Aarhus, Odense, and Aalborg. You'll find larger universities. So I think obviously, a lot of students will look at rankings. That's one way that you can kind of differentiate between the universities. So city ranking is two ways to differentiate. And then I would say living style. Do you prefer to live in, a big city where things might be more expensive, or do you prefer to live in a smaller city where things might be less expensive? Maybe there's fewer opportunities in terms of like culture. So I think it's all a matter of preference on that side. And then there's also, I think it's just a matter of the specific program and what works for you. So I think if okay, I want to study mechanical engineering, have a look at what type of mechanical engineering program do they offer at DTU? What kind of mechanical engineering program do they offer at Aalborg University? I think that would be my approach as well. And I think in terms of job opportunities afterwards, my best guess, and this is not even to be loyal to anyone, but I don't believe that it matters too much if you are a graduate from Aarhus University or Aalborg University or the University of Copenhagen. That's my best and honest answer.
Okay, thank you very much. We have another from the same student, Göktuğ. He wanted to ask some elaborate questions. He asks, where does Denmark position itself on issues such as the frequency of being preferred and investing in the future of students in the educational market?
I didn't get the entire question. The frequency of
being preferred. Instead of going to other countries in Europe or overseas, why students should choose Denmark?
Yeah. So I think the reason why a lot of students choose Denmark is the Nordic lifestyle for one, and the Nordic teaching culture. So as mentioned, it's very equal. So for instance, and you get very involved in research with the professors. And once you, if you work on a project with the industry, or once you get your first job, you will get a lot of responsibility at first, because we have, generally in Denmark, there's a very flat hierarchy, and it just impacts every aspect of both student life and work life. I think it really develops you a lot as a professional, both as a student and as a professional graduate. I think that would be one thing And then I think just living in Denmark is easy because the infrastructure works. So it's all these various services work. It's easy to get around the city. Public transport is easy. Going to the doctor is easy. And yeah, I think the easy equal Scandinavian lifestyle, I think, is why a lot of students choose Denmark, but also end up staying in Denmark afterwards. I hope that answered your question. The first part.
So, Göktuğ, if you would like to add any more questions, please do. Then I will continue with other questions. One of the participants asked that if you could give some information about the postdoc opportunities.
So postdoc, I don't know a lot about postdoc opportunities. I know that we have a lot of PhD opportunities. So that would be, and there are two different kind of pathways to a PhD that I would like to mention. So you can apply after the first year of your master's degree and then do what we call a 4+4, or you can apply after you graduate and do a 5+3 model. So there are two different ways to apply to a PhD. So just keep in mind that you can apply, so you don't only have to study 1 year in your master's and then you start your PhD after the first year. And the advantage is that PhD positions here are actually paid positions. You're hired as part of the staff. So you're not paying tuition, you're actually getting paid to do your PhD. And then I think in terms of postdoc, I would just say that as at most universities, I'm sure it's quite competitive and it's, connecting with the appropriate researchers and submitting your proposals, I guess. I don't know too much about it, but our website is fairly easy. All the information is in English. So I'm sure if you Google it, you will find contact information of people who know. And feel free to email me as well, and I'll point you in the right direction.
One more participants asked the criteria for scholarships and also what will be the cost of living per month.
Yeah. So for scholarship, the only criteria is obviously you have to be offered admission. That's step number one. And then you have to be among the applicants with the highest GPA. So let's say a program receives 100 applications. They offer admission to 50 applicants, and then they would say, okay, these 10 students have the highest GPA, and then they offer a scholarship to those 10 students. And that's basically how it works. It's all about the grades that you achieve during your undergraduate or your bachelor's degree. Yeah.
And I think we should mention that it depends on the program as well. It's just not a general scholarship. So it depends on the program you are applying for, because the students changing, their qualities are changing, their GPAs are changing. So every department, I believe, makes their own decision. And okay. Do you have no fees for master or PhD programs? For masters, if you are doing only masters as an international student, you need to pay the tuition. But for PhD, as you mentioned, they are an assistant in situation of an assistant, so they do not have to pay the tuition.
No. So as a PhD, you are an academic staff member and you're paid by the university. You don't have to pay tuition, you're actually paid. And I think the pay would be probably about, again, like 3,000-4,000 euros per month to study a PhD.
Seçil asked, when do we learn if we earned a scholarship and how much? I believe you will find it out about in April.
Yeah, so sometime in March, before the 1st of April, you'll receive both a reply to your application and find out if you've been awarded a scholarship. Yeah.
And the amount of scholarship is a full scholarship, and I believe it also includes a support for the living expenses.
No, so for these programs, it doesn't include, it's only a tuition fee waiver,
Okay.
but it's 100% of the tuition fee waived for both years. So at other programs at the university, there might be a scholarship in addition to cover living expenses. But here at natural and technical sciences, so all the STEM programs, it's again only a tuition fee waiver. Yeah.
Okay, great. But I have the examples of from other departments, as Catherine stated, they may offer full scholarships, including living expenses too. But for the STEM programs, you would only have the tuition waiver.
Correct.
Okay. For the visa procedure, Arman, I would like you to send me an email or call me. I think that would be best because we will be helping you throughout the process, how to apply for the visa, what to do before applying, which documents you would need to collect. We will be guiding you throughout the process. Okay, the application deadlines. Can we remind the application deadlines, please,
Yes.
Catherine?
So the application deadline is January 15th. I recommend, but the application is open already from November 1st. So if you have time, I would suggest that you submit your application perhaps sometime in December. And the advantage of doing that is that, say you're missing a document, say you forgot to upload a course description, then the admissions office can email you and say, hey, please upload your course descriptions. And then you have time to do all that. Obviously, they'll also ask you to upload additional documentation if you submit on January 15th, but it just gives you some extra time and gives the admission office some extra time. So I would say once the application form opens, go ahead, start gathering all of the documents that you need, start your application, and then submit it as soon as you can. But January 15th is the deadline.
Okay, thank you very much. And we have another question from Marve. Do you have a special orientation program for international students? Yes, there is an orientation program at the start of the program each year. Students get together for a couple of days, I believe. Can you please talk about what it includes, what the orientation includes?
So there is an orientation for all international students at the university. So you will be part of both our big orientation program with exchange students, and we do a lot of social activities, parties, and so on. We also help you apply for what's called a CPR number that you need here in Denmark, and some other practical stuff. And then we also have special orientation events for full degree students at the STEM programs. So we do a separate orientation for you guys, and then we do a lot of networking and social events. So definitely a lot during the first week, so that would be the end of August, but then also throughout the semester there are plenty of social events for this group particular.
Okay, thank you very much.
And it's all for free, I have to mention. So you don't need to pay anything extra.
Is there any assistantship programs for the master's students, not PhD? Assistantship, like when you do with the PhD programs.
Yeah, so I hope I'm answering this correctly, but I know of students who want to do some research assisting during their studies, and I think it's a matter of asking of the relevant professor if they need a research assistant, and then that's definitely an opportunity. I know several engineering students and computer science students who have been research assistants during their studies, so that's definitely an opportunity.
Okay, thank you. And there is one more question about the scholarship, but I would like to answer it in Turkish if it's okay with you too.
Go ahead.
Arkadaşlar şeylerle alakalı, burslarla alakalı konuştuğumuzda not ortalaması gerçekten çok çok önemli bir kriter. Çünkü akademik araştırma statüsünde bir üniversiteden bahsediyoruz. O yüzden genellikle dikkate alınan şey sizin akademik geçmişiniz. Not ortalamanızın iyi olması, Catherine'in sunum içerisinde bahsettiği ECTS gerekliliklerini karşılıyor olmanız. Bunlar oldukça önemli kriterler. Başvuran bütün öğrenciler içerisinden tuition ödeyecek statüdeki öğrencilerin hepsi içerisinden uygun olanları departmanlar değerlendiriyor ve değerlendirmenin sonucunda size burs çıkıp çıkmadığını öğrenebiliyoruz. Daha önce dediğimiz gibi Mart sonu gibi genelde 1 Nisan'dan önce bunun sonucu geliyor. Admission'ı ayrı alabiliyorsunuz. Sonrasında burslarla alakalı bilgilendirme de alabiliyorsunuz. Aynı anda da gelebiliyor. Yani burada gerçekten burs dediğimizde not ortalaması çok çok çok önemli bir kriter olacak diyebilirim. Burs bu arada tutarı genellikle full burs oluyor. Yani bir tuition waiver olarak geçiyor bu genellikle. Sizin eğitim ücretinizi tamamen kapatan bir şekilde hareket ediliyor. Bazı departmanlarda bu STEM programları için geçerli değil ama bazı farklı departmanların içerisinde yaşam maliyetlerinin bile desteklendiği burslar görebiliyorsunuz. O yüzden hani %50, %25 gibi partial burslardan ziyade daha çok full burs olarak düşünebilirsiniz bunu. Bunun için ekstra bir başvuru yapmaya gerek kalmıyor. Zaten başvuru süreci içerisinde eğer departman burs veriliyorsa genellikle değerlendiriliyorsunuz. Yüksek lisans için başvuru genelde 1 Kasım'da başlıyor. Ocağa kadar devam ediyor. 15 Ocağı kadar devam ediyor. O tarihten sonra da az önce de bir soru gördüm. Herhangi bir esneklik söz konusu değil. O tarihe kadar başvurunun tamamlanmış olması gerekiyor diyebilirim. Okay, I'm done in Turkish.
That's great.
I think we have covered most of the questions. We have another one. Okay, just one more minute. Daha fazla burs almak için yapılabilecek pek fazla bir şey yok. Çünkü bu burs oranı sizin başarınız ya da yaptığınız profil belirlemiyor. Bunlar zaten belirlenmiş şeyler. Hani bu şeyleri de başvuruları da zaten bir platform üstünden yapılıyor. Ortak bir platform üstünden yapılıyor. Eğer bize ulaşırsan hemen yardımcı olmaktan memnun oluruz. Okay, I think that's it.
Sounds good. And again, if you have any questions, I'll send you an email, so you can always just reply to that email and then send me an additional question. I'm sure Didem has also offered her contact info, so always feel free to reach out. And if we don't know the questions or the answers to your question, we'll find someone who does.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much for your great presentation, Catherine and Didem Hanım, for your answers. You covered all of the questions. We believe it was a really informative webinar for the participants and yet another great session with you. Also, I would like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Aarhus University ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için chat kısmında paylaşılmış olan mail adreslerinden iletişime geçebilirsiniz. Umarız sizin için de faydalı bir webinar olmuştur. Aynı zamanda sizi alttaki webinarımıza da davet etmek isteriz. Thank you very much again. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.